name is Chris Kaag. The title of my talk is Improvise, Adapt, and Overcome. And it's three simple words that I learned as a young man, and it really didn't make sense until later on. So these are the kind of stories that are my story is going to hopefully show those little things that you can learn that hopefully we're going to have a big impact on you later in life. So, and I start off by talking just about how happy my life is right now. I mean, right now you see a guy up here in a wheelchair, and hopefully, when I'm done talking, you'll get a chance to really see what I've done and how I've overcome, a lot of my challenges. But this picture embodies me. This is at the top of the pinnacle, which is part of the Appalachian Trail. That's my most amazing wife, Gretchen, and my little son, Carter, who is now 19 months. So I'm living a very, very, happy life, and I'm sorry to say I'm probably the happiest guy you're going to meet today. And I really think that the experience that I've had and the things that I've had to experience have really gotten me to where I'm at now. So I don't think the things that I'm going to talk about in my story, if I didn't have these things happen, I don't think I'd be where I'm at today. So the thing I'm most grateful for is the chair that's beneath me. And a lot of times when I talk about that, it really doesn't make sense to a lot of people, because I think a lot of people don't really know what they would do, if they had some sort of disability or they had some sort of traumatic accident. So for me, I want to hopefully redefine to people what's possible and show that just because you see something underneath somebody's butt, or if they're walking with canes, please don't judge somebody, because you really don't know what that person is capable of doing. So my story starts pretty simply. I was born just like everybody else, lived a very normal childhood, had a chance to get out, ride bike, get dirty, do stupid things, and then started playing football when I was 8 years old, played football all the way through high school. Unfortunately, when I was a senior in high school, I was a overweight, out of shape, lazy 17-year-old. I was about 230 pounds my senior year in high school. And when I graduated, my whole family was Marine, so ever since I was about 9 years old, that's all I wanted to do was be a Marine. So I went to Parris Island, South Carolina in summer of 1994, and 3 months later, I got out at 180 pounds with just a totally different perspective and totally different idea of what I was able to accomplish. And the reason I tell you this story is because it really, I tell people all the time, the Marine Corps saved my life. The lessons that I learned during those 3 months really, I didn't realize it at the time, because I was 17 years old, and, when we're 17 years old, we all know everything. But for me, I didn't realize the impact that was going to have until 2 weeks after my 21st birthday. I was overseas in Aviano, Italy, went out for a run, just like I always did, and, I had played rugby for the Marine Corps about a month before that, so never had any inclination as to anything that was wrong. Kind of a cocky 21-year-old Marine, thought I had the world figured out. And unfortunately, my feet started to drag. So I started to feel some weakness in my hip flexors. And my run, which I did for my physical fitness test, went from running 3 miles in 20 minutes to running 3 miles in about 26 minutes. So we knew something was wrong. They sent me back to the States, where I spent 9 weeks at Walter Reed Hospital in Washington, D.C. And in February of 1998, I was diagnosed with adrenal myeloneuropathy. So unfortunately, I don't have a crazy story. I didn't jump on a grenade or get shot or, was in a combat situation. Unfortunately, that wasn't my time. But obviously, I was 21 years old, and all I wanted to do was be a Marine, so I had to figure it out. So that's where the improvised portion comes in. Just have to figure things out. You have to accept the challenges and the obstacles that you face. Everybody here, everybody who's watching this, everybody has their challenges they have to face. So, the point of me being who I am is hopefully to be an example for people to follow. I'm not trying to be a cheerleader. I just want to, show that this is my life, this is what I've accepted, and hopefully you can get some strength and some inspiration from that. So one of the quotes that I've come over the years is by Vince Lombardi, and it's not whether you get knocked down, it's whether you get back up. So again, everybody's going to have their challenges, everybody's going to fall down. And, here is a 21-year-old Marine, and I had to figure out how I was going to get back and what I was going to do next. So I was unfortunately retired from the Marine Corps, came back to lovely Berks County, Pennsylvania, and went to Penn State Berks. So I'm actually a 2004 graduate of this university, and didn't really have a clue as to what I wanted to do. So when I graduated, I tried to get a job, try to figure out exactly what was going to be my career path, and unfortunately nobody was hiring me. So in December of 2004, I decided to hire myself. So I started Core Fitness, and building from my Marine Corps experience and building from that same motivation that I got when I was in boot camp. My drill instructor, Sergeant Hart, at the time was my inspiration. 3 months, I never dropped out of any runs, never dropped out on my team. So those experiences and those lessons that I learned, I wanted to share those with other people. So I started Core Fitness out of the back of my truck, and I went to local parks around here. Actually, right across the street from Penn State is Grings Mill. That was one of our spots on Saturday mornings where I was hoping maybe 5 people would show up. And then it started to gradually build. People started getting, aware of what we were doing and the change that we're giving people. People came to me with that attitude, well, I can't do that. Well, you're not going to tell the guy who at the time I was walking with canes. You're not going to tell the guy with canes that you can't do something, because we're just going to figure out how you can do it, and we're going to make it happen. And the change that these people have experienced was unbelievable. So, for those of you who went to boot camp, the day that I graduated, I thought I could walk in front of a bus and nothing was going to hurt me. So I wanted to give that same can-do attitude to all my people that came out and entrusted me with their fitness. So now, 2007 till now, we moved into Building 7. So we went from 5,300 square feet to 13,000 square feet. And it's right over here in Wyomissing, so if anybody is local to the area, you can please come over. But this is now an example of just some motivated individuals getting together and encouraging one another to do better and to exceed their preconceived barriers that they place on themselves. So in addition to Core Fitness, I started a triathlon. And originally the triathlon, it was actually the same year, so I had a busy 2004. The triathlon was originally started to raise money for nerve damage research. So I wanted to be proactive and to be able to hopefully eventually get me walking again and getting all my functions back. So for the first 3 years, I raised over $100,000 for the Mylan Project that supported research around the world to hopefully solve some of the problems with nerve damage issues. But then in 2007, I decided I was tired of sending $40,000 a year to Texas to something that I really wasn't sure exactly what was going to happen. So I decided to start the I Am Able Foundation. And the I Am Able Foundation is now an organization that is going to get people up and moving. So the goal with the foundation is to help individuals realize the potential to go further and push harder than their preconceived barriers. Because once that happens, then those possibilities are endless. And all the monies that we raised, so my triathlon is one of our biggest fundraisers. Now we get a chance to go out and purchase adaptive equipment for anybody who has the ability to get out and the desire to get out and be more active. Because being active is not only beneficial physically, it's beneficial psychologically. To get somebody who's in a wheelchair or who's been confined to their house, to get them out with other able-bodied individuals riding with their legs and they're riding with their arms, it's the most empowering thing you can do for somebody. So one of the stories we had a little boy, 5 years old. He came into my facility, a little apprehensive, but he was so cool. He had 2 canes. Each of those canes had little high tops on them. He had something sort of like spina bifida. And when he came into my facility, we put him on a hand cycle. And at first, he was a little apprehensive. He's 5 years old. He never rode a bike in his life. And we put him on a bike, and he started to get it. And you see that little sheepish grin on his face when he started to get it. And then that kid was, doing laps all the way around the building. So we were fortunate enough to provide him a grant, and that's him on the right-hand side, little Jordan. We actually invited about 30 other third graders that came out to show him that it was okay for him to be riding a different bike. They all brought their bikes out, and they showed him that they were going to ride along with him. So these are the kind of stories that reminds me as to why I do the things that I do. And I get so excited to be able to get out and help people. So anybody who's recently injured, anybody who has those challenges of not really knowing what is possible, I want to show them what I've done. Again, I'm the happiest person I think I've ever would be. So I wouldn't be sitting here today talking about the things that I have going on if I didn't have these challenges. So I want to hopefully show people that the challenges that you face are definitely things that could help you to achieve things that you've never thought you could. So, these images that you see, looking at the abilities of all these people who can, who have now the mentality of getting out, they can really accomplish anything. That young man on the right-hand side, he was a Marine who both of his legs were taken off in Afghanistan by an IED, and I got him out onto a trail over here in Wyomissing, and it was kind of funny because we put him on, and both of his legs, he had 2 prosthetic legs, they didn't really fit, so that trailer that's behind my bike, his legs are back there. So all the looks that we got were kind of funny. But again, his mentality was, we're just going to get out, we're going to have fun, we're going to ride a bike. It doesn't really matter what what my disability is. So the biggest thing that I want to hopefully have everybody take away from me being here is that we all have challenges. It's all in how you react to those challenges is what defines you. Some of the best compliments I've gotten are people telling me that they don't even see my chair. The fact that I've gotten so busy right now, which is a good thing because I don't see my chair either. There's times where, I fall or I have issues, but at the same time, I have 10 minutes because I have to go to class. So I really can't dwell on those problems too much. So if you really, take the time to get yourself, focusing on other things besides the challenges that you face, I guarantee those challenges aren't going to seem so great. And there's a lot of people out there who have things that are a heck of a lot worse than I do. So it'd be pretty arrogant of me, to feel sorry for myself or to look at my challenges and think that I, should be whining about them, because there's a lot of people out there with a lot less that are doing a lot more than me. So those are the kind of things that I want hopefully everybody to think about when you have those days where you're not really sure as to what you're going to do next. So challenges are not crutches. Okay, challenges are your stepping stones. All the things that I went through in my life, those really built up to where I'm at today. Like again, I would have been in the Marine Corps if I would have been in for 20 years, which is what I wanted to do. Who knows where I'd be? I'd be working, some 9-to-5 job. I'd be doing whatever. But my life now is so rewarding. It's so fulfilling, and I would not have that if I didn't have the opportunity to open my mind up to all the things that were around me. So the love that I've surrounded myself with, all the people that I care about, all the people who care about me, has definitely made my life more fulfilling. So I want to thank everybody for having me out today, and again, hopefully you've taken something from what I've done and some of the things that I've been able to do, and maybe you can put that into your life. So tomorrow, if you feel like getting up and you feel like whining about something, hopefully you can remember some of the things I said today and just get up and just start moving. So thank you very much, everyone.